as we know it, will soon come to an end.
We're gonna die.
No, we're not.
The moment we stop fighting for each other, that's the moment that we lose our humanity.
Daddy!
Hang on, baby, hang on!
We came up with a cast, I think, which is so right for this kind of parts, and because of that, everything clicks. The last time I had that feeling was probably Independence Day. I always have this kind of rule. I think 80% of your directing is the right cast. So it's only 20% actually I have to worry about.
Daddy, it's following us!
Don't look at it, get down on the ground. Don't look back, just look at me. Look at me, do I look scared?
There's only one person who can play this part, is John Cusack. Brings a certain intelligence to the part. On the one hand, he's an everyman, but has a very ironic and sarcastic voice.
What are the odds?
It's pretty epic and massive. You know, you read it and you think, how's anybody gonna film that? The scope of it is probably bigger than anything I've ever seen.
And I saw actually Amanda Peet with John Cusack before in another movie, and I thought, wow, they have great chemistry.
I've done a couple things with Amanda, so we get along great.
We're definitely neophytes at this kind of action stuff. Roland kept saying, like, smaller, smaller, we have so far to go. So many horrible things are gonna happen. You can't think this is that horrible.
I'll be the last president of the United States of America. Do you know how that feels, son?
When we were trying to determine who would play the president, Danny Glover was at the top of our list.
Danny Glover has this presidential feel to him.
The seriousness and the warmth and the soul of this man.
Is a man who comes to office with the idea that he can change the world.
And as his daughter, Tandy Newton, which I also think is a great actress.
You look just like your mother when you get upset. Did I ever tell you that?
Every time I get upset. The way to truly make these sorts of movies work is to have people hinged on the human drama against the backdrop of these thrills and spills and spectacles.
What exactly is it?
It's the apocalypse, end of days, the judgment day, the end of the world, my friend. Beer?
Yeah.
For the radio host, we went to Woody Harrelson.
I have goosebumps, people!
There was kind of a very short list, but on the top was Woody Harrelson.
Washington, D.C.!
I like playing characters that are really out there, and I like to be able to go over the top and for it to be okay. In this case, there just seemed to be no top to go over.
Oh, baby! Bring it on!
I thought we'd have more time.
Mark Gordon, had worked with Chiwetel Ejiofor. I checked out all his movies, and I cannot just fell in love with him. And mainly because he feels honorable.
He's just got that charisma, he's beautiful. You want to put your faith in him.
Anheuser, we have to stop this madness.
I think Roland's right that when he says that the casting has been very strong, and I think everybody has really brought a lot to these characters.
Opposite of him is Oliver Platt, and there was a great combination, these two.
Was it decided that people have the right to fight for their lives best way they can?
Just want to tell everyone they're doomed? There'd be anarchy. Our mission is to assure the continuity of our species. You're only as good as the actors that you're on screen with, and that's been just one of the best parts of the whole project is getting to know Chiwetel and working with him. It's easy to kind of plug your character into a certain stock type, and what you want to do is resist that and make them real.
Don't you dare touch that.
Are you out of your mind?
Got it. Reset, well done, folks.
All these actors are not normal in these movies, which I always tend to do. I always try to get actors which feel fresh for the genre.
1, 2, 3.
These are consummate actors. They make it so much more enjoyable for the audience to see what's going on, because if they're not engaged in the human story, then all the visual effects and all the special effects and all the spectacle in the world doesn't mean a damn thing if you're not engaged in the emotional journey of the characters.
When these actors come on the set, they tend to be a little bit nervous, you know, because they don't know how this all will work. I always like to say, we will react to you with the visual effects. You know, it's your timing which drives everything.
First time I've done it, and it's fascinating. I think once you get used to it and kind of just give in to it and enjoy it, it's pretty fun.
No! Hold on!
You know, you definitely got to watch yourself because there's a lot of action. You're running around, so you have to nurse some pulled muscles once in a while.
Obviously, there's a lot of stuff that isn't real, and we're having, as actors, to pretend that it's there, but then there are those days where it really is there.
2, 1, action!
I only did 2 days in the water. So for me, it was okay. But I know that some of the other guys had a long time in the tanks.
It's fun for about 5 minutes, and then it just takes a really steep dive into total misery.
I don't know why people love disaster films so much, but they do. Maybe it's the same psychology as like horror films. It's just like if people can visualize the worst thing happening, it's some sort of release of their fears.
You know, one of the central questions would be, can you really tell everybody, knowing that there'd just be mass panic and nothing can really be done about it? But my instinct is, you know, you got to sometimes roll the dice, and I think I'd want to know. I'd like to figure out a few things before the end.
I think everybody's different. Some people would want to know, but I'm a terrible worrier, so God knows it would. Yeah, I don't think I'd want to know about it.
An interesting question. Like, who would you call, or what would your last thing you do?
I mean, it's the end of the world.
Cut!